Thank you all so much again for being here today. We are excited to have our first C plus V Community Talk of the Year, where we are welcoming athletics, so cheering on the home team, getting to know DU athletics. And before I kick things off, I do want to start by saying live transcription is available. If you click on the bottom right corner there, you'll see live transcript, and those options are available for you there. And then I do want to start by saying a brief land acknowledgement. So before we begin, I just want to take a moment in the spirit of healing and peace, and particularly as we honored and celebrated Indigenous Peoples Day yesterday on campus, and the Native Student Alliance and so many folks came together in that space to acknowledge and honor the indigenous peoples of the land upon which the University of Denver stands, the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute tribes. Like the history of so many institutions in the American West, ours is a complex and sometimes painful one. In recognition of this fact and to underscore our commitment to inclusion and equity, C plus V commits to listen to and affirm the stories of all in our community. We do invite you to visit the DU's Native American and Indigenous Initiatives website to learn more, and we'll drop that link in the chat. And we do encourage you to look up the Native Student Alliance social media and the information about their group, as they're doing so much for this community. And with that, I do want to hand the mic over to a wonderful human being and a huge ally and advocate and awesome star for DU, Mia Sundstrom, who's the Special Assistant for Student Engagement in the Office of the Chancellor, and a current graduate student in Corbell, and also a student athlete alum. And with that, I will hand the mic over to Mia, who will be moderating the conversation today. Thanks again for everybody for being here.
Thanks so much, Chase, and welcome everybody. Today we have two incredible panelists, Dosha Woods, our head women's basketball coach, and Josh Burlow, our vice chancellor for athletics and Ritchie Center operations. And I don't know about you, but I am super excited to hear from these two Denver athletics experts. So let's get to it. If both of you could start by sharing a little bit more about yourselves and then tell us, why DU? What is it about Denver athletics that made you want to be a part of it? So Coach Woods, over to you first.
Thank you, Mia, for that introduction. As she mentioned, I am Coach Dosha Woods. I'm going into my third season here at the University of Denver. Prior to coming here, I spent 10 years at Tulane University, and this is my 22nd year overall coaching. So I would honestly say the time at Tulane academically really prepared me for a situation like Denver. I really enjoyed we say it's a 4D approach here, but just in terms of athletic competition, social life, and then obviously academics. And so those were all enticing here, and the commitment that University of Denver showed to all three of those areas. Denver is a great city. So for me to spend 10 years at a private institution with a similar setup, I was excited about this opportunity to revive women's basketball, but then really to present this type of atmosphere to our players where they can have all success at all three levels, academically, socially, and academically. Was that too short? I could keep going.
Great. I love it. Josh, what about you?
Well, I'm going into my third month, so Doja's got quite a bit of tenure on me, but DU is an incredibly special place. I spent the previous 9 years as the athletic director of the University of Minnesota Duluth, so any of our hockey people are going to know that school for sure. But it also meant that I would come out here when Duluth would play, so I've been exposed to DU really through the hockey lens, but I've spent a lot of time on this campus over the last few years, and was always impressed with the reputation and the desire to succeed academically and athletically at the same time. Before my time at Duluth, I spent 13 years at the University of Notre Dame between grad school and various roles up onto their senior staff. But just so excited to be here on day 80 something, and thrilled to have some games, and we got the hoop season right around the corner in a matter of weeks here, and excited to sort of really roll up my sleeves and starting to feel much more a part of it these days. This summer, when it was a lot of hours in the office, I didn't feel as much of a part of it, but now I do, and I've loved every minute of it.
Awesome. Love to hear it. So Coach Woods, you mentioned this is your third year at the helm of the women's basketball program, and let's just start with values here. I know that developing and maintaining a strong culture is a big priority for you. And so can you tell us what your team values are and why you chose them?
Absolutely. I was fortunate to get the position here in July 2020. And when you think about the previous previous coach that I took over, the pandemic hit in March of 2020. I get the position in July 2020. And so I had to get creative that first year. And it really was, me and my staff trying to get to know our players on spot. We didn't really have a lot of access outside of that. Learned a lot those 2 years. And I tell people, personally, I missed some of the limitations that COVID provided because as a first-time head coach, I liked some of the structure where we couldn't do some things because of COVID, you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. As I begin the year 3, our team, if you follow us on social media, you'll see progress a lot. We want to make progress. We had made progress, but the P stands for purpose. The R is resilience. The O is ownership. The G is gratitude. The other R is respect, energy, sacrifice, and support. And I think anytime that you watch our team play or you watch us practice, you'll see all of those attributes been a tribute that will allow us to have progress. We don't necessarily talk much about, obviously we want to be successful, but we know if we show up and do those things daily, have resilience, have some respect, have some gratitude, support each other, we know that we're going to be able to make progress. So that's what we've really built the program on. We started that last summer, and it's already in the short time that we've been together with 7 new faces. You can kind of see that not just in their actions, or I'm sorry, not just in their words, but their actions most importantly.
I love it. And I love seeing the progress up in your locker room and on t-shirts and hearing your student athletes buy into it. It seems like truly embraced that, which is super cool. And as in addition to the values, you talk a lot about developing not just the athlete, but the person. And your philosophy, as you alluded to in your introduction, aligns closely with the 4D experience that's unique to DU. So what to you does developing the whole person look like and mean?
I feel fortunate that, the court is an opportunity for that to be our classroom. And so a lot of the 4D approach that the university has tried to instill in just regular students, we're able to do that daily. For example, yesterday, we only practiced an hour and a half because we had an hour and a half workshop on personality assessment. It was really a great workshop, not only for the team, but the staff as well, for us to get to know each other, learn how to talk to each other, what type of words to say. We also have a Life 4.0 program. And as much as you want it to be about basketball all the time, life happens, right? And Life 4.0 is just an opportunity for, most of them have been done on Zoom, but either someone here on campus or out in the community to bring different topics to our team, whether it's mental health, whether it's financial planning. Those are the ones that we've done this year. The personality profiles and financial planning. And I feel like being able to provide that opportunity for our team, not only to then make connections, so they can apply that then in their classroom. So that's something that I speak heavily on. And then I try to act out. As you can see how important it is to me, I make sure I carve out practice time for it. Try to typically avoid a day off, but it's been great for our team. And I think if you ask any of them, they really enjoy the balance of, as I say all the time, making you a better player is important, but making you a better person is most important.
I think that's awesome, and just setting them up to pursue those careers and lives of purpose and explore character, promote well-being, again, all of the 4 dimensions. And Josh, as the leader of the division of athletics, what values do you see as most important?
Sure. Well, I think Doja hit on some of it. Culture is a big piece. And when I got here, one of the first things I did was meet with 3 or 4 student athletes from every team to really try to learn their culture. And the culture that we have here has been around for decades, and it's a culture of having really high expectations, both athletically and competitively. It's a tradition of being good social citizens. It's a tradition of giving back to the public good and furthering the institutional mission. So culture is something that's incredibly important. And I think that starts with our coaches, who are the ones that recruit these talented young people like yourself, Mia, to our fine institution. And then we try to empower them to reach their full potential. So making sure that we continue to stay rock solid on those values. And we live in a crazy, challenging world, and in a world that's changing at a rapid pace. And my guess is we'll touch on that later about the NCAA and upcoming changes, but not compromising our values in a world where you see corners cut more often than I think many of us would like. So staying true to our values of doing it the right way, high expectations, academic integrity, good social citizens, those are really, really important. And I was impressed in just about every meeting I had with our student athletes. I had high expectations going into those meetings, and the student athletes were bringing up culture to me before I could bring it up to them.
That's awesome. And I know you mentioned meeting with student athletes is one of kind of the first things that you've done here in your first 3 months, or 80 some days, as you'd like to say. But can you share with us some of the other initiatives you've prioritized in your first few months at DU?
Of course. And as part of meeting with their student athletes, it's really, I would say, restarting some of our systems to get student athletes feedback. That's exit interviews with our sport administrators, annual online surveys, myself meeting with our captains at some point, typically mid-season throughout the year, and just making sure that there's good connectivity with our leaders and we're getting feedback on what we need to prioritize to support them to the fullest extent. We also launched a fan advisory council, so our fans can tell us what they want, and that's about when they come to games or they watch this web stream, or they're just engaged through social media. So 3 times this weekend, people asked me if we had decided if we decided on the fan advisory council roster and if they were going to be on it or not. So I'm glad there's a lot of interest. And I'm glad I'm not making the decisions of who is and is not going to be on that roster. But I'm thrilled that there's passion for what our student athletes do and how people get to engage and be a part of that. So I think those are a couple of fun initiatives that we've started in the last couple of months.
That's great. And then Coach Woods, transitioning back to you, you are an incredible role model for so many communities. How do you see yourself as a role model, and what does that mean to you?
No, being a role model is something that if you know me or spend time around, I take pride in all the identities that I bring to the table. Part of it, you asked earlier, what motivated me to come here to DU. And, to be honest with you, to be in a position where who I am is enough as a coach and as a person was really important. I didn't want to have to be in a situation where I had to act like a coach that I thought I should be. I could just show up as me. And by that, I know, obviously, I identify as female. I'm also Black, and then I'm also part of the LGBTQ community. So to be able to show up as my full self, happy coming out day to those who identify, to be able to show up as my full self and to be able to just be who I am and be authentic and see people inspired by that. I've gotten so many messages since getting this role here at DU where I've been able to be a little bit more open about who I am and help people kind of navigate their own journeys. And that's something that I take pride in, not just showing up here every day, but just how I present myself. I have a small head coaches group that I've been able to kind of help mentor. But, you pick an identity, and I feel like I've been able to help inspire people by just being myself. And what's nice about that is sometimes you think being a role model, you have to do what you see, when who you are is enough to inspire somebody. And who you are will always be enough. And somebody will always accept you for how you show up and what you bring to the table.
That's incredible. And we're so fortunate to have you as a part of the DU community and to play all of the different roles and share the identities that you share. And it means a lot to all of us and to role models to other communities and young children and everyone. So we're thankful for that. Josh raised his hand, so I'm going to pass it over to him for a second. I think he has a comment.
Well, I just want to compliment Doja on that. I mean, it's such an important position that she occupies, and to embrace her identity and to be an example for folks and inspire them and show them what's possible in the world is an incredibly powerful thing. So I really appreciate this. Sports has a great history of advancing inclusivity and social justice. There's also some ugly side to some things that have gone on in sports, but I just have so much respect for all the coaches out there that have embraced their roles and the public platform they have to try to leave the world a little bit of a better place, not just within their program. So little fist bump to you there, Coach.
Thank you. And I would also add, I think since coming here to DU, I felt really empowered to really use my seat at the table. I talked to a few of my friends who are in similar situations, and I say often, if you have this seat at the table, use it. You'll see me often on committees across campus. I'm trying to show up at different events because I think it's important to kind of live that as well, that here I am having this opportunity that I want to make sure that I'm visible for other people to see, as Josh mentioned, what is possible and what can happen when you do extend that offer to someone who is qualified and willing to take up space at the table.
Absolutely. And you talk about your seat at the table. One of the things that you've done is the women's basketball has pioneered the Pride and Unity games at DU, and then many of our other programs followed suit. And this was inspiring for our entire community. And to me, reminded us all that sports is a lot bigger than just playing the game. So can you talk about these games and what they mean to you and your team and where it's headed in the future?
It's kind of fun being a head coach because I feel like I'm going to bring this idea and you really can do the work to make sure it's executed. Spending 19 years as an assistant, I felt like I'm going to have these ideas and then hope that they can be executed. I think having a pride game, I think just visibility is important, whether it's the pride game, the unity game. We have a Play for K, which is aligned with like breast cancer. We have a lot of different initiatives. And what better time? I think the pandemic taught us that was the first time we were really forced to talk about a lot of just racial issues that has gone on in the country because we didn't have an outlet, right? A lot of sports were shut down, couldn't go to a concert. And so coming out of that, I wanted to make sure that we were in a position to keep those conversations going. That was kind of how Life 4.0 started, just within our team. We have little intimate discussions about life issues that center around social justice. So both the Pride and the Unity game, honestly, we're just women's basketball typically, whether we're here at Denver or anywhere else, are usually family oriented. But I feel ultimately it's a place where everybody feels like they can see themselves. You can enjoy the game and there's something for everybody. And that's the type of atmosphere I wanted to create at DU. Maybe the Pride game isn't for you. There's a Unity game, maybe that isn't for you. We'll have Military Appreciation Night. So there's a lot of different initiatives that we can encourage people to come out and show up as their full selves. And with that being said, if you have one that you want to see us, shoot me an email. And if we can make it happen, we'll do our best. But I think it's important to just for that particular game, let people know that they are seen, welcome, and heard, at least at our games.
Absolutely. I love that. And before we continue, I just want to remind the audience that, like Dosha said, if you have an idea for us, pop it in the chat. And if the conversations that we're having are sparking questions, please feel free to pop those in the chat as well. And we'll be sure to get those answered because this is such precious time with two of our Denver athletics experts. So moving on, kind of transitioning to a topic that's important to discuss right now, we are seeing a widespread mental health crisis in the college student population and student athletes in particular. Coach Woods, do you want to start by talking about some of the things you've implemented to support your student athletes and destigmatize mental health?
Perfect. I feel like, sorry, Josh, I'm taking all the questions. But, mental health, I spoke a lot about the social justice part, but, Life 4.0 were both mental health and social justice. Mental health is something that I'm a huge advocate for. Yesterday was World Mental Health Day. It's something that as a team, we speak openly about. Again, being the leader of our women's basketball program, I'm able to implement different kind of policies. So for our team, they can take a mental health day whenever they need it. Just text me 30 minutes before practice, no questions asked. You will hear us talking a lot about it. If you need extra time, we call it recharge days now. Just text me how you're going to recharge and what you need from me or the staff once you get back. If you need 2 days in a row, we're fortunate to have mental health specialists here in the health center where Hamilton is, that they can go make that appointment. So it's something that from day one, I've talked to the team about. I think that in COVID, we had a ton of mental health issues that forced me to change my own mindset about it, to be honest with you. I think sometimes being a Division I student athlete, you don't realize the types of pressure, the academic standards that sometimes you see all the glory on game days, but there's a lot that goes into it. Being a former Division I athlete myself, it's helped me kind of prepare our student athletes. So we talk about it as often as we can. We share information. And then I also send biweekly mental health check-ins, which is basically a series of hearts. And this is how I'm feeling. I'll ask how they're feeling. And if we need to address something, that gives me a heads up to address it, either with our trainer or something like that. So we try to talk about it so they're more comfortable. And what's been interesting is to watch those that were maybe a bit reserved the first or second year. Now, as they go into year 3, comfortable saying, okay, I'm just a bit off today. So I want to get through practice, but I'm off. And my staff knows, okay, we got to pick this one up today and she's going to do what she can. And, that's just, basketball is important, as I say, but it's not everything. And if you're not feeling it, you maybe didn't win practice, but you can win the rest of your day. And that's usually what I'll say. You didn't win this moment, you can win the rest of your day. But it's something that I want to make sure with my team, they feel comfortable talking about and seeking help when necessary.
I love that. And Josh, do you have anything to add as far as student athlete wellness and mental health?
Yeah, I would just add, Mia, that we live in a challenging world. Our student athletes are facing many of the same challenges that all of our students face and pressures. But our student athletes at times believe that they need to be tougher because that's the culture of sport, and there's a bit more of a stigma. So I would just try to continue to reinforce it's okay not to be okay. It's great. And I love that Dosha's got such a welcoming environment to getting help, and just encourage people, no matter what your circumstances are. If you need some help, go get it, because there's a lot of pressures in today's world, and there's plenty of help out there, but it's sometimes hard to take that first step. And I would want to compliment you, because I know a little bit about you and what you did in your leadership role here in the Green Bandana Project and those things. That I think that peer advocacy network is just so important, encouraging people to get help. So don't forget about the impact that you had.
I had the opportunity to be SAC president last year. And so a lot of what we tried to do was, student athlete community and camaraderie, and building up the support for each other. And one of the emerging topics is mental health. And so we started the Green Bandana Project at DU. And the goal of the project is to get more student athletes trained in suicide prevention. And then following the training, the students are given a green bandana to put on their backpack as a sign of support for mental health, and a symbol that they're a safe person to approach with mental health concerns, because that they know the campus mental health resources and can direct others to those resources to get help. So we're excited. I think it's a great opportunity for student athletes to be leaders on campus, to connect with the rest of our community, and to work together towards a cause that everybody cares about. So that's exciting, and I'm excited to see where everything is taken in the future with that. All right, that's a great conversation. And if anybody has any questions, again, feel free to throw them in the chat. Let's transition to another topic that is being talked about a lot. Josh, we are living in a new era of NIL, where student athletes can profit off their name, image, and likeness. And in addition, the NCAA Division I Transformation Committee is in full swing with bigger changes to college athletics on the horizon. So what thoughts would you like to share with us about the future of the NCAA?
Sure, a couple things. One, for those that may not be too aware, NIL is name, image, and likeness. So for a very long time, the NCAA rules prohibited student athletes from personally benefiting from their own name, image, and likeness. And I think some of this is due to the growth of social media. So we have student athletes who have tremendous followings that could do product endorsements or essentially be influencers in a space, but that has very little, if anything, to do with the fact that they're a student athlete, but they were prohibited. So there's been some real positive change, and they have the opportunity to engage in activities in that space, whether they are entrepreneurs or they have these large social media followings, and that's great. There's also been some other places within the name, image, and likeness space where it's influencing what schools people are choosing. And I really hope that student athletes are selecting their institutions based on academic fit, cultural fit, competitive fit, and what it's going to do to the long-term success and their potential in life. But I think there's a whole nother webinar we could do about NIL inducements and collectives and other pieces. So my view and our view here is that we support the empowerment of our student athletes. This movement really began with a skier up at the CU Boulder who at the time happened to play football. Because he played football, he wasn't allowed to take endorsements for his skiing activity. And that really was the impetus for this conversation. And then states passed laws and things accelerated from there. So we embrace it. We've got a platform that our student athletes can utilize to engage in activities with their personal name, image, and likeness. And we're watching closely to see where this goes. From a transformation committee perspective, the NCAA is really in an unprecedented era of change. We don't know, and this is very much focused on Division I athletics. There will be new standards to maintain Division I membership. You're seeing some incredible, I think the Big Ten football contract for broadcast rights exceeded $1 billion. You're seeing some unprecedented space things in our athletic space. However, what's not going to change here at DU, and I touched on this earlier, are our values about academic excellence, competitive excellence, competing with that integrity. Because when you win with student athletes who are achieving are meeting and exceeding high academic standards, and you're doing that with great integrity, that's a special thing, and that doesn't happen everywhere. So we're paying close attention. We're going to have to work hard and be entrepreneurial to continue to maintain this Division I standard that we have, which is similar to an accreditation for a college or any of the other standards that we here at DU seek to attain at the highest possible level. There's some that's the challenging part. The good part is there's an increased focus on student athlete mental health and general well-being, and I'm excited for that. There are going to be some requirements to maintain Division I standards that I think is going to be around access to mental health, around access to nutrition and nutrition education. So with every piece of change that we face in the world, I think there's opportunity. DU has an incredible legacy and tradition of competitive and athletic and academic success. And I think we've got a great foundation that will continue to be successful, albeit in a new world.
Awesome. Thanks for the rundown. Coach Woods, anything to add there?
I think Josh definitely nailed it. I think it's such a, the next couple of years is not only transformation, just Division I athletics, but just athletics in general. So really trying to, pay attention, pay close attention to see how we best can help our athletes navigate these changes as we're trying to do the same. So he crushed it.
Awesome. And then talking about community in general, I know that as a student athlete and having incredible fans for the Denver gymnastics program and Denver athletics in general, the community and fan engagement and donor engagement means so much to our experience and all of those who came before and the future of all of our programs. I would love to hear your thoughts on kind of the role of the fans, the role of the community, the role of philanthropy in Denver athletics. Josh, we'll start with you.
Sure. Well, first I'd just say it takes a village. It takes a village to have what we have here at DU, which is special. We have all of these programs. The vast majority of our programs are able to compete on a national level, and I don't think it'll be long before all of them do. That's unique. A lot of institutions will select a few programs that they're going to invest in and hope those are the ones that are successful. We try to do it in every program here, and that again is unique and special. It is also more expensive to do in every program, and we also ask our fans to come to more events because student athletes feed off the energy of the crowd, and that's what the home field, home gym, home court, home ice advantage is derived from. So we ask a lot of our fans, and what I tell folks is, as long as you're doing everything that you can, going to as many events as you can, wearing as much DU gear as you can, and supporting our scholarships and all the other things that help our student athletes with your philanthropy that you can, then you're going to help us continue to be incredibly successful. So there are always more opportunities to engage in those spaces, but it's not just about writing large checks. There's so many other ways that you can support our student athletes and appreciate everything that folks do, because when our student athletes run out in front of, there's the bells. I love the bells. When our student athletes run out in front of a large crowd, it means the world to them. And we're very fortunate to hear. And I was on the other end of this many times to see those large crowds. So appreciate and thank you to the DU faithful for supporting our student athletes.
Absolutely. Coach Woods, anything to add?
Yeah, I think just from a women's basketball perspective, right now we compete and play our games in Hamilton, and I really admire what Melissa has built with gymnastics. And, I know there's Magnus can be converted, right? It can be converted to a basketball court at any point. But it's my goal and my staff's goal to put a product on the floor that we won't have a choice but to convert Magnus, because we're going to outgrow Hamilton. I think being at 5280, we really work to put an exciting product on the floor, but then also you'll see us in the community because of COVID. Last Friday was the first chance that we had to get out to Foster Elementary School and be a part of the conflict centers reading for peace. So I think we're now in a position to be able to build some of those relationships. Again, being the first time Denver resident at a time where a lot of things are shut down, I'm excited to get my program out there, not just myself and my staff as well, but that's ultimately, and you talk about the community support, definitely makes a difference. the players can feed off of it. We feed off the energy. I'm really going to be a lot nicer to the reps this year, so that will help. That's kind of one of my personal goals. I'm gonna be a lot nicer. I'll have my sanitizer ready, but no, I definitely want to continue to work and provide some excitement. As I said, we really want to make women's basketball something that you feel like you can bring your family to, which is why after the game ends, win or lose, you'll find our players in the stands thanking everybody that came. So it's my goal to get Magna some point, not because, not for any reason, but we have to be in there because Hamilton is going to be too small.
Love it. And I know all of our head coaches would echo, and student athletes would echo the same appreciation for the fan support. And I mean, I love DU. I grew up as a big Denver Athletic fan, as a Colorado local. And I just think the combination of academic and athletic excellence and doing things the right way with the right values and being part of an athletic department on the rise is something incredibly special. And so any chance we get to share that with our community and our fans is incredibly special. I also think we have a really important role for the rest of campus to represent the University of Denver as a whole, to represent our other student athletes and our other students, our whole community. Can you talk a little bit about, either of you, a little bit about what our role on campus looks like as the broader University of Denver community and how you see that kind of fitting into the goals and objectives of Denver athletics?
Yeah, Doja, I'll jump in if you don't mind. So this is one of the favorite parts of my job, Mia. We can use the visibility and the platform of athletics to celebrate all the incredible things that go on in this campus in so many different ways, academically, culturally, what have you. And I've had just been very fortunate to enjoy many moments where it's you have a nationally televised game and then you get to see the 30-second spot about the university where athletics is just a small piece of that story. So the analogy is often used that athletics is the front porch of an institution. And I agree with that. It provides a rallying point when we're having great postseason success for our alums to get together all over the country and do game watches. We can celebrate the incredible success. We can use it as a vehicle to generate philanthropy around academic programs. I really do think that the benefits of athletics and its visibility contribute to the profile and celebrating the incredible achievements that go on in this campus. I also think that we can be great community engagement vehicles. Doja getting her team out there. I think through athletics, we contribute very significantly to cultural diversity of the student body. And we provide great engagement points to focus on that. And then there's a difference between pro sports and college sports. So there's no player parking lot here, Mia, as you know, right? You park in the general student lot, your students first, and the kids and families that come to games get to know you and you're role models for them and they look up to you. And I know you were one of those little kids coming to DU events and looking up to the gymnast. So those are all things that are at times hard to quantify and a little bit more intangible, but incredibly impactful. So that's the stuff that gets me almost as excited as watching our student athletes succeed and reach their multiple goals.
Absolutely, completely agree. Coach Woods, anything to add on the role of your program and your student athletes and yourself across campus?
No, I think we try to get out and get to activities across campus. I think being on committees, I think that ultimately there's a lot of good happening on the other side, both in academics and athletics. We all just have to talk to each other like we are today. Often will forward my team, hey, this event's going on. If you have time, show up. And the time demands, so you can't always make everything. But I think trying to be that resource to communicate that to them, but then also so they can be seen in a different light. We have one team rule, which is make good choices, #MGC. And that is a big umbrella, but it also just means when you're out on campus to wear your gear, wear it with some pride, but then also know that you stand for something different. Oftentimes, as we say, if something happens, it's not going to just say, if I go out and get in trouble, it's not going to say, oh, Dosha Woods. It's going to say head women's basketball coach at the University of Denver. Oh, here's her name. So it's a different responsibility that we talk about daily, but one that our players know before they get here, and my staff as well, that we're going to represent well and making sure that people see us not just as coaches and athletes, but as an active part of the community as well.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And that's one of the big initiatives of SAC in the last couple of years, as well as obviously as student athletes, we want people to come support us at our games, and we feed off of the energy as we've already talked about, but we also want to be supportive to others across campus and recognize that everybody's working towards incredible goals, athletic or otherwise. And so kind of building relationships with other student bodies, with USG, with our club sports, recognizing that we're all one community and that we're a lot stronger together. And I think that's kind of the power of these conversations, and for us to all keep in mind that when things get busy, that's the reason we're all here, is to work together to the highest possible degree. And so I've found that to be incredibly unique and special at a small private institution like the University of Denver, and hope that we can all continue kind of building off of that as we move forward. So before we get into audience questions, which we'll do in just a moment, can you share like one thing that you're just most excited for about this year? Could be anything. Either of you can start.
I'm looking at Coach.
Well, this is, in my mind, this is real year one. So, to be out of a lot of the heavy COVID restrictions, obviously having the new energy that Josh has been able to bring in. So I'm excited to see what a real DU looks like. We have a lot of new faces in our team. So I'm just really excited to feel like this is the first year in terms of building the culture, both on and off the court, that I envision. And then, I'm fortunate to also share a suite with hockey. So if that doesn't motivate me every day when I come in and see the hockey coaches, when you have to walk past, trophy after trophy after trophy. So I'm just excited to kind of, and then men's soccer move on the other side. So it's like, if I can't be inspired, not to leave out men's lacrosse because they're also down here. So a lot of good things happening, but a lot of motivation that I can find within. And I think as programs, we all do a great job of trying to support each other and push each other. So I'm looking forward to us to continue making progress, not just on the court and in the classroom, but the community as well.
Absolutely.
I'm just excited to support our coaches and student athletes and try to foster an environment that helps them reach their full potential competitively, academically, and whatever their life goals are. I think we get in athletics, we get really focused on the next goal and the next step. But I think we've got to remember that the core reason we started playing sports was to learn those life lessons about teamwork, adversity, knowing when to lead, knowing when to follow, knowing how to battle through an injury, and all those things that help us be successful in the totality of our lives. So I'm excited to support and bring some new ideas and some enhancements, and then see where these programs can go. And really, it comes down to working to further the incredible legacy that we have here at DU in the athletic department.
Absolutely. Those are all awesome things. And we'll move to a question from the audience now. And we've touched on this a little bit as far as the role in the community, but this is a little bit bigger and broader than that. What role do you see Denver athletics impacting the public good? Coach Woods, you want to start with some of the community engagement I know that your team does and you value so highly?
Yes, as I mentioned, we've had the opportunity to get out to Foster Elementary, another non-negotiable when I got the position here. This would be our third year around Christmas participating in Adopt a Family program. For that, we use the Action Center, and it's usually 2 or 3 families that we have opportunity to adopt. They're changing the format a little bit this year, so hopefully we get to actually meet one of the families. But I think being a part of that, it really has given our players a sense of I wouldn't even say responsibilities, but really gratitude, and realizing just how fortunate we are, how grateful we are to be in positions, and to see how excited they are for the little presents that we give. What's fun about it is we just say, hey, these are the 2 families that we have. They have 2 kids, and this is their needs. And then the players really, we raise whatever money, whatever they feel like giving. And we've had as much as $100 from a player just because that's what she felt like giving, or $10. But I think our role, just a DU being part of that public good here in the community, is to constantly be accessible, be the ones to step up to volunteer, whether it's for that or just if you need manpower, things like that. So I think you'll see us a lot more in the community now that a lot of these restrictions allow us to be, not just in my program, but a lot of programs around here love to do that, to get out and just to give back so we can be a face I mentioned Foster Elementary, and our first game, November 7th, we already received an email from a parent that said the daughter wants to spend her birthday party at the game because it's on her birthday. So that was just a small example of 30 minutes of reading to a third grade classroom, how we were able just to inspire one person.
Incredible. Josh, any thoughts there?
Yeah, I would just say it's what Doja is doing times the 18 great programs we have, the 380 student athletes, the 16 head coaches. It's the impact that they all have in engaging our community in ways that they may not otherwise be engaged with the university, and doing it with a intense and intentional focus on values and public good. So I love what college athletics can do to bring people in and give them a place to come and forget about some of the pressures of the world and focus on watching Doja's game and seeing her young women as role models. That's often life-changing stuff, particularly for kids, that sometimes we don't really see the whole impact of it until years later.
Absolutely. And I would just add on to that what Josh was talking about earlier, which is the life lessons that are learned from sports, and particularly from our incredible coaches and their values. And learning how to deal with adversity, being resilient, exploring character, being adaptable, working hard, being disciplined, learning time management. I have been so inspired by some of the things that our student athlete alumni have gone to do in the world. And so for Denver Athletics to be a vehicle to teach those things, and then to send student athletes and everyone in the community out to go continue to use the lessons that they've learned to do good in the community, I think is a really powerful byproduct of some of the fun that we have in athletics. So I think that's really exciting. All right, we have another question from the audience. How do folks from athletics and academics partner together in the mission of teaching, research, and service? I can actually take a stab at this one, and then let you guys think about that for a second. One of the things that's really cool that the gymnastics program is doing right now is working with our engineering school, our human dynamics lab, to do an Achilles research study with our gymnasts. So it's super exciting. It actually just launched yesterday. And there's been a lot of hard work that's gone into it from multiple sides, but it's kind of coming together to collaborate using everybody's different skill sets and make some good impact for students and for our student athletes, and super exciting. Any thoughts?
I would say, really it goes back to the communication piece. I think both sides are willing to help each other with research. I'm not sure how the program gymnastics got set up with that, but an email, was sent, and I'm sure Coach accommodated. It's the same last year. I participated in a case study for a professor in the Daniel School. We met probably about 4 times in the fall. So I think just being able to communicate, I think if there's research where we can help here in athletics, obviously it might have some time restraints, but just be able to communicate either with Josh or with one of the coaches and see what makes sense. So don't be afraid to ask, and I mean, what's the worst we can say? We know, or we don't have time. But I think a lot of times we're just not sure what's happening on the other side of campus. And for us on the, where the support, we talk about the community support, it's a little easier because our schedules are often online, or athletics kind of has something separate. So I say just communicate with us. I don't know, Josh, if that was too forward, but it would have been nice to know, not that we have a ton of Achilles in basketball.
Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit back. Well, there's the bells again. I'm going to be a little backward looking there. So at my previous stop, I taught a 400 level or 4,000 level their marketing class. And I was able to, in sports marketing, and bring in some of the experts and relationships that I had. And then we found places like in our ticket office, we would bring in students from the sales program, and they would actually get real world resume building. And we're talking about trying to find some of those places where we've got shared priorities, and whether it's co-curricular or practical learning, there's so many opportunities for that collaboration. I'm always open to it. And if we can be a learning laboratory, or we can support a specific academic program, we're all in. But I think to Doja's point, it comes down to some relationship building, and the better that we can all get to know each other on this campus, and regardless of the functional areas, and find those opportunities for collaboration. There's just, the sky's the limit once you start doing that stuff. I'm the product of it. I did my undergrad at the University of Massachusetts in what was one of the oldest and is one of the best sports administration programs. And I spent almost as much time working in the athletic department as I did in the classroom.
Absolutely. And I would say our student athletes do a great job too of building relationships with their professors, and kind of working with them to figure out where to go and where to head. And that's, again, driving those lives and careers of purpose. So there's lots of opportunity for collaboration and some good foundations for relationships there. All right, we have a silly question for Coach Woods. A little birdie shared that you have an affinity for Halloween. Can you tell us what your costume is this year?
Okay, the little birdie knows that whoever it is, definitely not going to tell. But yeah, Halloween, we'll have our team's Halloween party on the 29th this year. And yeah, it'll just be a surprise. I'll post, me, I'll tweet it out. But in the past, costumes, it's been Mr. T, Vanilla Ice, MC Hammer, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. So yeah, it's a serious thing in our house. But yeah, you'll find out on the 29th. Definitely not cheering, but it's Hollywood theme this year for the party. Last year was Willy Wonka.
All right, you heard it here first. You got to follow at Dosh Woods on Twitter if you want to know the answer to that question. And you'll probably want to follow it anyway. She's quite the Twitter expert. So it's a really good way if you want the inside scoop on Denver athletics and women's basketball. I would recommend it. Josh, Halloween costume?
I have not planned it that far ahead, I'll be honest.
It's not a game, Josh. I'm gonna have to text you a couple pictures. It's serious.
You're gonna have to help me up my Halloween game.
Yes.
Oh man, I love it. Well, we'll have to circle back on the next webinar to follow up on the Halloween costumes. You didn't know that was going to be the hardest question thrown at you today, but here we are. I'm looking here if we have any other questions from the community, and if you think of them, just feel free to throw them in the chat here. Coach Woods and Josh, anything that you feel like we haven't gotten to today that you'd like to jump in on and share with our audience?
Go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to thank everybody for their interest and support of athletics. I have the unique position where I get to see all of the hard work that goes into it. I get to see the practices. I get to see the less than glamorous travel. I get to see the workouts, and I get to see the injuries and the rehab. And I always encourage our fans and our supporters, really enjoy the accomplishments when they happen, those special achievements. And there's a lot of them here. Because the amount of hard work and the commitment, the dedication, the discipline, the time management, when you achieve on a national level, as so many of our programs here at DU do, it's a pretty special thing. So when it does happen, take that moment, enjoy it, throw some fist bumps and some high fives out there, because the amount of work that goes into it it's inspiring.
Absolutely.
And I would say, being here in the city of Denver, we are actually the only Division I program here in the city. And not that makes us better than anyone else, but I think we are able to compete at a high level, bring high level opponents. And so to continue to support the outlet to allow us to compete, showing up at different events. I know it can kind of get challenging where, there's games on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights like that. But I think, making time to come and see what we're about, come and see just how the programs are growing, but more importantly, how our student athletes are growing. And as you mentioned, once they do graduate, that they're able to be productive members of society, not necessarily because they're wins and loss records, but because of the lessons that they learned while being a student athlete and a student here at the University of Denver. So to be able to do all of that at a high level and to have a community that supports that, I think you'll continue to see the success from athletics across the board.
Absolutely. I love that. And I'm so honored to be part of Denver athletics, and every day that I've been here, I've felt incredibly, profoundly grateful to just learn from some of the most incredible people, and to be part of a community that means so much. And so this has been such a wonderful conversation and incredible insight from the two people who are at the heart of it all. So lastly, I would really love to encourage everyone to go to denverpioneers.com or download the Denver Athletics app. Many of our teams are very much underway with their competitive season, including men's and women's soccer, volleyball, hockey, swim and dive, and triathlon. We've got men's and women's lacrosse, golf, and tennis in fall seasons. We've got homecoming coming up next week with the gymnastics open house and lots of home games. And after an exciting month of October, we can look forward to men's and women's basketball starting at the beginning of November. And again, as a former student athlete, I know how much it means to these teams to see you in the stands at the game. So we really thank you in advance for all the support. And we thank you for joining us in this conversation today. We really appreciate it. And with that, I'm going to pass it back over to Chase.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I learned so much in this conversation. And as a fellow student athlete, when I was in college, it just means a lot to see folks out there supporting the teams, getting to know the players, seeing all that goes into the work that they're doing out there. So thank you so much, Coach Woods and Josh and Mia, for being on the C+V community talk today. And we do encourage folks, get out to homecoming. It starts the week of the 19th of October. And so get there. There's activities for students, alums, faculty, staff, friends, and neighbors. And then it all wraps up on October 22nd with Oktoberfest and the hockey game and all sorts of activities in between. So please get out there, show your support. And we do encourage you for our feedback and to make sure we're serving the community as best as we can. If you can fill out our brief survey regarding this event today, and then follow us, our C+V team, on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. We'll have more community talks coming up. We're excited. We're going to get to know some of the new leaders that are here on campus, talk about things that are important to the community. So thank you all so much again for being here on this community talk. We will share a recording of the webinar as well and share it widely with the community. And thank you all again for being panelists on this conversation.